friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about open interviews, what they are, why you should go, how do you prepare, etc., etc. So if you're new to my channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and welcome to the family. I never want you to miss one of my videos or uploads. So let's go ahead and get into what the open interviews are for today. Right now when I'm filming, the month is currently February. Where I live and where I'm from, this tends to be the time of year when we start to see in my surrounding community advertisements, billboards for open interviews. It just so happens, if you're new and you don't realize this, I am a nursing educator in addition to being a master's prepared registered nurse. So many times students come to me and ask me, hey, what's an open interview? Should I go? What can you tell me about it? So I'm bringing to you some of the general questions and answers that I get from my students and then give to my students. Hopefully it'll help you out too. Granted, please keep in mind that my background is nursing, so some of my focus is more nursing related, but the profession of nursing is not the only profession that utilizes open interviews. So if you know somebody else that's in any other kind of field, they absolutely could watch this video and probably find it helpful because overall I'm talking about the generalities. So open interviews are a really wonderful opportunity for you to go and participate in several rounds of interviews with unit managers, the coordinators of a unit at a hospital. They will have representation from all the units. So ICU, emergency room, trauma, med-surg, OB, peds, you name it, depending on the healthcare system that you're going to go and attend this open interview at. It's an opportunity for you to sit down, meet the leadership or the management of the unit, learn more about what types of patients they're caring for, what types of positions they have open and available, whether that be a night shift position, a day shift, a day-night rotator, a full-time position, part-time, etc., etc. The beauty of this opportunity when you go to an open interview is it really, while it is still an interview and you should perform and prepare exactly the way you would in any interview, it is a little more relaxed in that it's not necessarily, it just doesn't give you the same vibe when you're going to a formal interview where it is you and management one-on-one sitting at a table. You are going to do that in an open interview, but you tend to be in a big space where lots of people are coming and going. So I think it's very helpful if you are somebody who tends to be nervous in those types of situations. It allows you to interview without it having that rigid, structured feel. I found from my own personal experience going to open interviews, it felt much more like a conversation than the way a regular interview where you're one-on-one with a leadership team feels. Why do I think you should go? Should you go? You absolutely should go. In my humble opinion, you're crazy if you don't go. You're going to find a lot about yourself, the answers, the questions they're going to ask you, the answers you're going to give, things that you like that you said, things that you like that they said, things you didn't like. You're going to learn a lot from that experience. To me, I'm always blown away by that when people say, well, I'm not going to go. I don't want to go. Again, I mean, you do you, but I really think it's a wonderful opportunity, a learning opportunity that's 100% free. If you're the type of person who says, I'm not going because I've already accepted a job, I want you to kind of approach it this way. You may very well have already accepted a job and you may have your dream job. You may know 100% that's where you want to work. Fine, great, and congratulations, because we all want to land that job that we love. But you might learn something in that open interview. You may realize that you potentially could get a day shift position. You may realize that that job that you already got that you think is your dream job really isn't your dream job when you're interviewing. So how do you prepare for an open interview? We'll break this down in a couple steps. It's not anything mind-blowing that you probably don't already know, but there are some things that I want you to keep in mind. Number one, dress the part. This is not an interview where you're going to wear scrubs. Yes, nurses wear scrubs all the time at the bedside, and I understand that really is our professional uniform when we're hands-on taking care of patients. That does not say I am a professional individual here and ready for this job and you should hire me. So that's really not the time for you to wear your scrubs. It is not the time for you to show up in jeans and a sweatshirt. I did see that at an open interview and was like, oh my gosh. So don't do that either. You really should come in professional dress. If you're, shirt, make sure your shirt is ironed, a jacket, slacks, a nice skirt, something that says, I'm here, I want the job, I'm serious, I'm professional, and I think that you should hire me. You don't have to break the bank to look professional, look the part, and go to any interview or this open interview. Something to think about that is incredibly underutilized on college campuses. Many places do utilize like a career closet, a career center where they can help you prepare for an interview. You can bring in some of your outfit choices to wear to an interview. So it's almost like your interview before the interview. On the topic of that professional dress, another resource in your local community that you can utilize, go to a secondhand store, go to a thrift store. You never know what you might find. And I'm talking labeled name brand items that are sometimes new with tags, sometimes barely worn. If you know that you're somebody that you truly don't have anything in your closet and maybe, money's a little tight, that's a great resource to use. Nobody knows the difference. If you're clean, well dressed and ironed, nobody knows that you may have gotten those clothes at a secondhand store, and really, who cares? You do want to come prepared with several copies of a formal resume. Make sure that you've had somebody proof that resume for you. Again, like I mentioned, you can go to your local campus career center and they can help you if you're just writing the resume, not sure what to put on the resume, or just be the extra set of eyes to really look and see if there's any mistakes that your eyes have not yet caught. Because you could be interviewing with multiple unit managers, you do want to have multiple copies because you have the opportunity to leave your resume with the managers that you're interviewing with. So I would say at least bring, good rule of thumb, at least bring 10 copies with you, because there may be two people that are sitting and interviewing you for one specific unit, and you want them both to have a reference to be looking at. Another thing to think about when you're there, while you have the opportunity to interview with all of these different unit managers, that does not mean that you have to sit down with every single one of them. So for example, if there is a general med-surg unit and you know in your heart you never want to be working on the med-surg unit, probably don't waste your time interviewing there. The next way that I would prepare for the open interview process is creating a general list of questions that you could ask any one of those unit managers. What kinds of questions should you be asking? You definitely want to find out about their staffing, okay? What are their numbers like? What is the nurse to patient ratio? If you're a new grad and you are just getting your feet wet and you find out that these RNs are taking care of 8+ patients, you probably should have some little red flags going off in your mind, because let's be realistic. You want to be safe. You want to be an effective nurse. You want to hold on to that license that you work so hard to obtain. So put yourself in a position and on a unit that's going to bring you success and keep your patients safe. So be very mindful of what that patient to nurse ratio is. Find out what the turnover has been like over the last year or so. That speaks volumes. If you find out that turnover has been very high, again, I would probably have that red flag raised in my mind. I also want you to ask about what is the orientation process like. Are you on orientation for 3 months, 6 months? Are you paired with one primary preceptor? Are you going to be orienting on all shifts? Those are all really important questions to ask, because again, it can greatly influence your decision to potentially take a job if an offer is made to you. Other things that you want to ask about, continuing education. What kind of support is available and given to staff? Certification opportunities. How many nurses on the unit do obtain a certification in that specific specialty? Does the hospital provide funding for that, et cetera, et cetera? Another thing that you can definitely ask about are externship opportunities. While often, students are able to do or may already be set up with a summer externship, sometimes when you start talking with management and they realize you're very interested in a specific area of nursing, for example, an ICU, working in critical care, there potentially is a summer externship opportunity. So that would be also a really great time where you could find out a little bit more if that opportunity is available. And if you really know in your heart that's the type of nurse that you want to be, you could potentially be doing a summer externship to really determine if it's something that you love in an area that you want to accept a position in. Other things that I would be prepared to ask or prepared for them to ask you is, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your goals. Tell us about some of your experiences. Obviously, you're in nursing school and where all student nurses are out going to clinical, but tell them about the types of patients you've been taking care of. Tell them about the types of units that you've been on, the acuity of the patients. That really speaks to what your experience is so far. So if you've been doing nothing but virtual clinical compared to a student who's been hands-on taking care of 3 patients during clinicals, that's a huge difference. And as a manager, I would want to know that information as well. Sell yourself up and don't be afraid to promote your strengths and what you bring to the table. The next thing that I would do in this open interview process, be sure that you are asking everybody that you interview with to have a copy, say, may I please have a copy of your business card? That card will obtain a couple things that are really important for you to have. First of all, it'll have the manager's name, their contact information, so email, phone number, but it also contains their formal title. So for example, if they're a CCRN, a critical care registered or certified critical care registered nurse, if they have their master's, their bachelor's, whatever it may be. Because when you go to apply to a job down the road or you're writing a thank you, however it may be, it's very helpful to know somebody's formal title because you never want to shortchange them on their accomplishments. And let's be honest, we all like to be addressed by the correct title at the end of the day. When you are done with this open interview process and you've really had the opportunity to kind of bounce around to the different managers and the different units, it's also helpful to talk to and just listen to conversation that's happening around you, talking to some of the other candidates that are there. They may already work on the unit as a nursing assistant. They may have gone there for clinical. Maybe they have a loved one that currently works on the unit. You'll find a whole lot out about the unit just talking to other people in conversations. You're going to find out the positive things. You're going to find out the negative things, but all of that helps you make the best decision for you. After this whole process has ended and you've interviewed with the people that you want to interview with, it's very important that you follow up with a thank you. You can do that through email is probably the easiest way because remember, you got the business card, you have their contact information. You could send a formal thank you in the mail. If people still do that, you can absolutely do that too. But you definitely want to extend out and say thank you so much for the opportunity to interview with you. Thank you for your time. And end it professionally, and you can leave that door open. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you in the future. I would love the opportunity to join your team, and make sure you close that thank you with your name, your contact information, the best way that they can reach you. It just kind of ties everything up. Think of it like a Christmas present. You want to put the bow on top before you slide it under the Christmas tree. If you're one of the candidates, of course, they will reach out to you. What I want you to remember is that just because you say yes and you take a job today, and then 2 months from now, you interview for something else and it really was your dream job and now you're changing your mind, you have the right to do that. Just because you go to open interviews and you may be a candidate for a position, nothing is set in stone. Really, at the end of the day, you're not losing anything by going to an open interview. You just have that much more to gain from this whole experience. So I hope that was helpful in breaking down some ways that you can be prepared, why you should go, what you should wear. And again, don't lose out on this wonderful free experience for you to gain an incredible resource of interviewing with unit managers that are going to always help you be prepared for any interviews you have down the road. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.